Get to that level, we need to go inside. We need to go within. And when we get to within, you'll see the whole universe around you. Now the planets are no longer going to be guiding you or affecting you. Now they are going to be working with you because you harmonized the angelic beings, the deities within your field with the cosmos, micro, macro. We're sitting in such deep state of meditation that my physical body started to lose its density. Each constellation has its own Christ consciousness. So Yashua has only realized this constellation Christ consciousness. The Syrian constellation has their own Christ consciousness. The Palladian has their own Christ consciousness. And we know that if you focus on the news and everything else, it will just pull you. It drains your light. It's created to distract you from your self-realization. This is the moment when you build your energy light body. Mastering the 12 zodiac signs. So that's what we're here to do, is to master all of them, is the qualities within each one. So whatever zodiac sign you are, the opposite of that is where would be your last integration moment. Each zodiac sign represents the 12 nervous systems within your brain and represents the polarity, the masculine, the feminine. So in your lifetime, you will go through all 12 zodiac signs to embody that wisdom. When you embody that wisdom, that opens up channels to the higher strands, what we call 12 strands of DNA, or we call the 12 chakra systems going up. They are all terms that are utilized for the linear mind, but each zodiac or each constellation is around you. Okay, so as above, so below. So if you are a toroidal field, so is the toroidal field of our universe. Our universe is also a toroidal field, right? Or a galaxy. Within that space, it has its own planetary movement. So you have your own karmic agreements and planetary shifts that take place that have an effect on you. So let me rephrase this. They don't have an effect on you, but they have a gravitational pull which you are resonating to, that you are going through a moment of a certain time of transformation. So when you're going through these transformations, the zodiac signs want you to integrate it. The integration process takes place in illumination of your nervous system. So let's say I'm a Sagittarius, the opposite of my zodiac sign would be a Gemini. So Gemini would hold the key for me to complete my whole integration process. So you would look and see what's Gemini's qualities, right? What qualities are there? Most of the time, you will probably have resistance to those qualities. So you need to become neutral to all of it and acceptive. The whole thing is to become all-inclusive, not separative or segregative of things. You need to include everything, because the higher state of consciousness does not separate things. It unites everything. So you're here to unite them all. And when you unite them all, the final phase would be the pineal gland, which would be the Christ consciousness initiation. So there's a lot more there to understand, but in reality, it is becoming the most gentlest, the most righteous, the most calming, the most acceptive being. It is just becoming the pure Elohimic consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness. That's why there are examples for us to integrate that. That is what true human is. This is what we were before the Great Fall. The Native Americans that lived here was the other aspect of Elohimic consciousness recreating, not knowing what possession is, mine is, yours is, separation, segregation, ownership of relationships or people owning, stuff like that. There's none of that, because it just knows all of it is temporary. It observes everything from the soul. But to observe from the soul, you have to soften up the nervous system, that you programmed to believe that your perception through it. Your perception through it has to change. So the zodiac sign, basically, or the different constellations are here to show us where we have resistance to them and accept it. And the more you accept it, the more your nervous system will expand. So whenever you're feeling that light coming in, you feel the nervous system, the tingling sensations, you're actually reprogramming the nervous system to hold a higher frequency, and it expands itself to hold the higher frequency of the soul. Because these two eyes create illusions. And they're constantly picking up and receiving information and feeding it into your awareness, into your consciousness. But if you close your eyes, nothing is feeding it. And this is why yogis go away. This is why the dark rooms are made, is to dissolve the personality. But you're not really dissolving the personality. You're dissolving the belief system of the personality. The ego will always remain, but it will now become much softer, compassionate, acceptive, loving, nurturing. It will no longer look at things as mine or yours. Right? Gandhi was asked, what do you think of people? And he said, what people? So there was no separation between him or the people. To get to that level, we need to go inside. We need to go within. And when we get within, you'll see the whole universe around you. Now the planets are no longer going to be guiding you or affecting you. Now they are going to be working with you, because you harmonized the angelic beings, the deities within your field with the cosmos, micro, macro. Well, it's like a whole lesson on that. There's like a whole class on that. And I kind of tapped slightly on that last Turkey pilgrimage that we did through Ephesus and Cappadocia, because Cappadocia actually has the 12 churches. 12 churches. And they're inside of a cave, right? They're inside of these caves. But these caves are actually remembrances of previous civilization that utilized these caves for harnessing cosmic energy. So after the Great Fall, when the Christians spread out and left Israel, they went to these different places, and these places were energetically charged. And they understood the connection between these energies and the different 12 basically like churches, which they inside interpreted and drew information of Christ consciousness. And when you walk through them, you're actually walking through 12 different constellations to integrate that aspect. If you take a look at Jesus, you'll see he has a halo in the back of the head, right? You see beings that have a halo around their head, but you also see beings that have a halo like a disc in the back of their head. Take a look at the image in the background here. You see Jesus sitting, but look at the cross in the back. The illuminated halo. It's not a halo, but it is a different halo. You see the halos of other beings, it's going around. That means they have activated divine mind. He has not activated divine mind. He went beyond the divine mind. He has activated the divine mind of all his lifetimes on this constellation. That means he has conquered all his lifetimes in all dimensions through the Christed energy of activation of the pineal gland, that he only operates through that space of the causal mind, the cause of the belief systems. So it's a cross. What does that cross indicate? He has activated the purity within his physical body to vibrate at the space of the cosmos. Beyond matter. That's why he was able to resurrect, meaning that he's no longer attached to this physical body. He can leave this physical body because this physical body is just a shell. And he can choose another one to express himself in this dimension. That's why after his resurrection, They did not recognize him because he was in a different body, but they recognized his expressions. They recognized his teachings, no longer attached to matter, to the point your physical body will start to dissolve. You will not have desire to eat. You will not need it because you are filled with that light of your soul, the prana. And I don't know why, but I don't share my stories, okay, a lot. I spent 4 years in deep meditations and like about 10 years altogether. The 4 years that I was sitting in meditation, there was a time towards the end of that where there was no desire to eat. I'm 6 foot tall and I was weighing 140 pounds. Okay. There was no desire to eat, to the point where we're sitting in such deep state of meditation that my physical body started to lose its density. Density meaning like my bones became very soft themselves to the point of dissolvement, because the energy starts to dissolve matter so fast, and this energy spirals at such a great speed around you that nothing can sustain there but the soul essence itself. And then there was another whole experience where I had to come back to this reality and learn how to be here, because my mind was not here. I was not reading, listening. I was in my own dimension. And that was another struggle to come back here, to be part of this world. Because you cannot resonate. I did not understand people. When they start telling me that they have an illness or a problem, I was like, okay, just move the energy. I looked at them, I was like, what's wrong with you? I did not understand the process and I could not relate to them because my mental perspective was at a different level. You dissolve the mental belief system of your mother, of your father, of your friends, of the society, and then you move into a higher grid space where the collective, how they think. Then you go beyond the collective, you connect to the collective of belief systems of the universe and other galaxies, because they have their own belief system grids. So each constellation, there's 88 constellations. Each constellation has its own Christ consciousness. So Yashua has only realized this constellation Christ consciousness. The Syrian constellation has their own Christ consciousness. The Palladian has their own Christ consciousness. So when you do this work here, you're only dissolving the personality now. You're just getting into that. If you spend 8 to 10 hours immersing yourself in this work, you will shift very quickly. The vibration of the planet and our cosmos has shifted. So the work that was to be done in 5 years or 10 years now is happening much faster. Because light is expanding. We are receiving this expanded light about 20 years delayed. So when we get a solar flare, we're receiving the solar flare 3-4 days later. But those that operated a higher state of awareness, they receive that solar flare right away. So when you say a full moon is happening, you will feel the full moon happening 2 days before. If they say, oh, it's at 11 a.m., you have to do it then. No, that is your personality thinking that way. God has already experienced it. And if your awareness is expanded, you will feel that transformation a few days before. You will feel the planetary shifts a few days before. So the constellations play a role. Everything has a purpose. That's why every holiday you see is based on the cosmos, on the planetary movements. Why do Jews have Shabbat? They do it on Friday. The day begins on the night, not in the morning. Friday is the day that transitions Friday night to Saturday. Saturday is what? Saturn. Saturn tells you do not work. Saturn is a teacher. That's why they go and they pray, they meditate, and everything that has to do with the higher consciousness. Because Saturn wants you to understand your lessons. So Saturday, don't do nothing. Sunday, day of the sun, you reset yourself. You learned what you did in the whole week. Sunday, you're receiving the energy of the sun, new beginning, the wisdom for the next week. The moon allows you to balance out your emotional state. Women have moon cycles, right? Connected. Men are connected to the sun, women are connected to the moon. 13 cycles a woman has in a year. Correct? She has 13 cycles. That means there's 13 moons. That means there's 13 months. So there's 28 and a half, 29 days or so, not 30, 31. So we're missing a constellation. That constellation is Ophiuchus. So you cannot really ascend by not knowing the truth, because you don't know the truth. So you have to know the truth. The truth is there's 13 constellations. Jesus had 12 apostles with him. It's 13. He's the 12 nervous systems, and he is the 13th, the pineal gland, which unites the 12 nervous systems. Actually, it's 24, 12 on one side and 12 on the other side. We unites all of them through the pineal gland. But your focus should not be on the pineal gland. Your focus has to be on the pituitary gland and the nervous system. The pineal gland will naturally activate when the whole endocrine system is in balance. Your whole hormonal system is operating at a higher state of consciousness. So Yahshua was an example of that. The story is not about Jesus. The story is about cosmos and all the planets and all the constellations coming down to this matter and expressing themselves in this reality. It is the cosmos that chose to be in matter and chose to be a human. And the story is about cosmos expressing itself on earth. The 12 disciples. And one of them betrayed him. Who betrayed him? The betrayer is your gut, the solar plex. Why? It's always hungry. It always needs something. It always wants something somebody else's. We need to illuminate that space. When you make that space strong, that's when the soul says, you created space for me so I can express myself, instead of your ego mind wanting what you saw on social media. I'm not good enough because that one is better. But you didn't look at yourself to find the better within you, because you have your own geometrical mandalas that are spiraling around you. And that mandala creates uniqueness. So he was basically a story to guide us back to ourselves. It's everything about your physiological structure, and internally and externally. When I say externally within your field. So that's why we get so carried away. And we know that if you focus on the news and everything else, it will just pull you. It drains your light. It's created to distract you from your self-realization. Can you look at it and there's something that guides you, that says that it brings you back to your soul, to your source? Never. Even a little bit of rain is going to be, a little bit of snowstorm, everybody, and the grocery stores are empty. People are going to die without food. It's okay if you starve for a day or two. Maybe the universe wants you to starve, because when you starve, you're actually feeding your soul. Your soul is eating when you are not eating, because what you are feeding, you're feeding the parasitic desires within your ego mind. That's why Yahshua went away and fasted for 40 days before any gathering. Buddha, same thing. They fasted. There's images of Buddha where he's completely bones sitting next to a tree. Anybody seen that? just bones sitting next to a tree. So we learn these things from them. There was a reminder. The Bible served its purpose. That they served this purpose for us not to forget. It's all encoded. It's all encoded. It has nothing to do with Yahshua or his disciples. It's a story of your internal biological structure existing in this dimension. Cosmos coming down to express itself in this dimension. The sun is the Christ consciousness coming here. That's what he said. Me and my Father are one. What does that mean? Me and my Father are one. He was no longer separate. He understood the pillar of light within him was so strong, so undeviated, connected to his source, that nothing really mattered for him, only that connection to his sun. Because from that energy of the sun, we connect to 3 more suns to get to the central sun, the central sun of our universe. Again, decoding these parts within the body. It is working on the body. It is going deeper within. The more you work within yourself, the less you will react or respond to everything outside of you. Because whatever you are reacting to outside, I understand a lot of these things are emotional, like riots or, food things, blah, blah. All these things are emotional, but there's something inside of you that is not aligned with the observation from the higher self of what's taking place. Sometimes maybe in a past life you were a creator of that, or maybe in this lifetime you need to participate in it but without an emotion, because you cannot participate in it with an emotion. So if you want to make a difference, you have to approach it from a different frequency. This is the moment when you build your energy light body. When you build your energy light body and you really have solidified it, you merged your spirit. Spirit sustains out of mental, emotional, physical, and astral. When you have merged all of that, then you start to operate in the causal body. And when you operate in the causal body, you build that, and that's all your past lives information and memories stored there. You also have to transcend, and you basically destroy that energy body as well. So everything that you're building then has to die, because it's a process of existence. And when you do that, you are actually giving birth to another soul. And this is what self-realization is. You have realized all the aspects within yourself that it becomes so bright, so elevated, that it gives birth to another soul. And the cycle continues. It never ends. In other lifetimes, in other dimensions, other universes, extraterrestrials, whichever you want to call them. But this is only our universe. And then there's other multiverses. And when you venture out into those spaces, they operate on a completely different state of consciousness. They will not even look at you or see you, because for them it's not even possible to think of things as war. They don't even have that word or definition. Duality will remain on this planet because that's how it operates. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just finding the harmony between it. It is finding the unity consciousness where the male and the female can work together. And not only male, female outside. I'm talking about internal male and female. What we see outside world is a representation of our collective internal process. The presidents that we have, the activities that are happening outside of the world, it is the chaos that's happening internally within us, majority of people. And then majority of people are like, I'm done with this. And we see a whole new strand of people completely disconnecting from the duality and finding their own new uh, homes, own soul families where they can integrate, where they can feel the light. And the higher we go, the less separation there is. Even the space that we call, the negative reptilians, they are just an aspect that's trying to survive. There are positive ones as well, just like humans. So even the universe itself has those that dominate and those that create peace. So in the higher realms, there's also levels of existences. And we have to accept those levels of existences and go even higher than that into unity consciousness. That's why we have like a pyramid structure. The higher you go, the more united you become. And look what they did with our food chain. They inverted it, right? It's not about the food, it's about the change that's taking place. A pyramid upwards represents the father, the pyramid downwards represents the mother. It's a symbol that's showing us that we're coming back to the feminine, coming back to the gentleness. But we take it as a physical aspect that's taking place beyond the energetic expression behind it.